The 49ers might be getting more reinforcements on offense, but if they're interested in trading for reinforcements on defense, there are options out there that make more sense than others. We'll discuss that, plus the emergence of Tatum Bethune on today's 49K pod.
You're listening to the 49 Carats podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Thursday, October 16th, and we're feeling good on a Thursday. We're feeling better, I should say. You know, we've gone through stages of grief throughout this week, of course. Monday was very rough for all of us. Tuesday, maybe a little better, but now it's Thursday. We're looking forward to the future as much as we can. We've got some newfound hope and some of these guys in the locker room that are looking to step up. And we're also in a good mood because we're here with Wayne Breezy. Wayne, how you doing, man?
What's going on, man? It's Thursday. It's third down Thursday, third conversion Thursday, whatever it is. It's a great day because I get hit with these questions that I'm just like, am I answering it right? Am I answering it wrong? But nah, I'm excited to be here, talk 49er football with the great Steph Sanchez, and we got to figure out how we're gonna get back into that win category. Like that's the most important, you know. We got the takes. We got it.
And so far, you know, the 49ers are still in a favorable position in the win-loss column, right? 4-2, like that's still a good place to be. So there's no reason to lose all hope quite yet. So we're going to keep it rocking. And, you know, Wayne, I always like to throw some curveballs at you, but today we're not going to have as many third down conversions. We'll just have the third and long and third and goal at the end of the show. So no punting or converting this time. But in any case, like how we usually go through these Thursdays, right? We go through some injury reports because yesterday was the first practice of the week. And with this team, there's just always injuries to talk about, right? So as far as the players that did not practice, a couple wide receivers, Ricky Pearsall remains out of practice with a knee injury. Sky Moore popped on the injury report with an ankle injury. He did not practice yesterday. Yetur Gross-Matos still dealing with the knee and hamstring injury. Dominic Pooney, who hasn't been on the injury report at all, or the practice report, he didn't practice with a knee injury. Now, this comes after, presser this week in which Kyle Shanahan maybe hinted that some of Pooney's struggles maybe had something to do with the injury that he sustained late in the offseason, around training camp. He missed some time then before the start of the season. So now he's back on the injury report. I don't know if that had anything to do with the comments made by Kyle Shanahan or just figuring, hey, like maybe we should start to give this guy some rest throughout the week and see if that helps. I don't know. But that's interesting. And then Fred Warner, of course, I mean, we know he's going to be out extended time. The interesting thing with this one, Wayne, we know he's going to go on injured reserve. Mm-hmm. But get this, I mean, we do know he had a successful surgery, everything went well, all that. But as far as the timeline goes, we haven't gotten anything definitive from Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch quite yet. John Lynch this morning on KMBR said that they will talk to the team doctors and then they'll have, a better idea. But, hearing from some other people who have talked to doctors and people who are experts in this area, like Matt Barrows talked to a couple of people who are experts in this. And, they kind of said 4 months is kind of a good timeline. And that puts him at a possibility to be available for the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we're thinking Super Bowl, but there's hope. There's an option that Fred Warner could come back if, let's just say, the 49ers do find a way to make it at the end. So, I mean, that does help make me feel a little bit better, doesn't it, Wayne?
It does, right? We love Fred Warner, you know what I mean? And for what he's done, his 8 seasons here, not 8 full seasons, but this was his 8th, right? So for what he's done during his tenure here, has been, I would say, a marvel, like marvelous. It's just been uncanny. Like you can't ask for a better developed young man. Like you know what I mean? Like and it's just sad and unfortunate that the type of injury that he sustained last week, it took him out for the season. Because I can tell you right now, the way he was flying around in that football field, this cat was about to have a game. Now, I remember Kyle earlier saying that it was going to be about a 3 month return. He was just making up a number or whatever. Somebody told him something. You know what I'm saying? And now you're saying 4 months. So I'm going to take 2. I'm going to say 3.5. I'm going to average him out. Right. And so, look, this is around my birthday time in January. He could potentially be back if the Niners are in the playoffs, which they need to be, which they should be. Maybe we do see Fred Warner in the NFC Championship game and then see him in the playoffs. Luckily, this was just, I don't want to say it was just, but it was an ankle, a broken ankle, opposed to a torn Achilles or a torn ligament in the knee. You know what I'm saying? So I think Fred dodged a little bullet right there, and it's all going to be on how this young man just rejuvenates. So, not trying to rush him back, but if we are competing for a Super Bowl, I want Fred and Nick out there on the football field some way, somehow. And you know what I'm saying? Like, they just such a part of this team. And it just sucks to lose them. But hopefully Fred's in great spirits. And hopefully, if we don't get him back this year, I can't wait to see how his legendary comeback is going to be in 2026.
He is in really good spirits, right? Like even when he was getting carted off, like it looked like he wasn't too phased about it. I think that's just the character that he has, just knowing, everything's going to be all right. I'm going to attack this rehab and get back out there to be myself. And also, I think we can be sure that Fred Warner is going to be around this building. Like, make no mistake about that. And John Lynch kind of indicated that. Nick Bosa is already also back in the building, and I think that's good too, to just, have those guys guide the guys who are going to be filling in their places basically, and coach them up a little bit as much as they can, be in the building, talk to everyone, keep everyone's spirit high, because if their spirits are high, that can translate to the rest of the team as well. I mean, we saw how even their presence on the field can do that. So their presence in the building, I've no doubt could go a long way with this team. So that's the update on Fred Warner. But again, we'll wait to see what the official word is after, Kyle and John have spoken to the team doctors. We'll know a little bit more. As far as, players who are limited and might have a chance to return, Brock Purdy was limited in practice yesterday. So that's a good sign. Like, he's progressing. Mac Jones as well with the knee and oblique was limited yesterday. Kyle Shanahan did say that, Brock Purdy's a little more limited right now than Mac Jones is. So if that gives any indication on who the quarterback is more likely to be on Sunday, it sounds like, at least early in the week, right? He said this Wednesday. Early in the week, it seems like Mac Jones has a better chance towards playing on Sunday, but that could change. So something to monitor throughout the week, of course. And then George Kittle, hamstring injury. He's practicing in limited fashion. It's so good to have George Kittle back, Wayne. I mean, like, that's going to be, I think, the biggest difference for this offense. An offense that now needs to step up and needs to score a lot of points if they want to help this defense out any bit in the losses of Bosa and Warner. Kittle being on the field should also go a hell of a long way for this team.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll dial it back a notch, Yeah, I want hella points scored. I just want this offense to look like the offense. Get into a rhythm. Where's the rhythm? A lot of throws. Cool, that's cool. But just getting back into the run game, allowing the outside zone to develop. You got your key offensive, I would say, Swiss Army knife, as far as run blocking, as far as pass catching, as far as route running. I mean, this guy, George Kittle, healthy, can do it all. And, just getting that back is going to be like a hell of an upgrade. And then let's get to the red zone, where the Niners are 7th or 28th in the league. Excuse me, I got to sneeze. 27th, 28th in the league.
Bless you.
Thank you. I don't know where that came from, but it just came out of nowhere. And, not having a guy like George Kittle in the red zone, getting him back is going to be so profound for this team's offense, for what Kyle Shanahan is trying to dial up. As far as stretching it out to the pylons and getting the ball to the outside or running, just running. People want to see runs. We got our first rushing touchdown last week. Thank goodness Christian McCaffrey just said, I'll do it. I'm just going to run over my offensive lineman. I'm getting in this end zone by any means necessary. And he did. You got to get down to that goal line more. You'll get less mistakes out there. There's been plenty of penalties just called on tight ends, just false starts and things like that. And so, George Kittle being out there definitely raises the level of the offense in so many different ways. And, I'm going to be the guy that's going to go out on the limb and say, hey, he's playing, he's starting, he's being activated. All that good stuff is happening this week. He returned to practice. He is back.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan, obviously asked about the boost that George Kittle will provide. Shanahan, of course, goes on to talk about, his ability to be a good blocker and how that always helps for sure. It can't hurt, with how bad some of the run blocking has been thus far. And of course, his contributions in the pass game will go a long way with this offense as well. So he just helps in so many different ways. And Wayne, I think we saw even in the little bit that he was available in that very first week 1 game, I mean, he had 4 catches, 25 yards, and a touchdown already. I think we saw immediately just how much involvement he was going to have in that week 1 game and presumably even like the season, right? So we can only imagine that, in this week and the rest of this season as well, like a lot is going to be on George Kittle's plate this season. And especially when you talk about the red zone, this is a crazy stat, right? And shout out Karine Falcone, who posted this on Twitter. Kittle, who played 2 drives this season, has as many receiving touchdowns as all of the 49ers wide receivers combined this season.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah, but that kind of feels like more of a I'm
trying to think of
wide receivers.
Well, I'm just trying to think of the Niners wide receivers that have touchdowns. Did Ricky get in?
Maybe.
No, Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings has a touchdown.
Okay.
No, Juwan Jennings has a 2-point conversion.
I could probably look this up.
I thought JJ had the 2-point conversion. Did he get the touchdown? I could be wrong. I stand by it.
Let me see.
I remember him scoring, but I just don't remember if it was 6 or 2.
And if anyone posted it in the chat before.
They said, Strawberry says it was Jennings against the Saints.
Oh, Jennings, yes, he has 1 touchdown.
Okay, so Juwan Jennings.
Oh, yes, it was that long one that he had.
Okay, I remember now. I got you. All right, so Jennings
There you go.
It's just Jennings.
It's just Jennings. And Jennings, he's working through injury right now as well. And so, his first game back after missing a couple, it wasn't all too sharp, right? Again, he's dealing with a couple of things. So Juwan Jennings remains limited right now. Jordan Watkins, who's missed a number of weeks now with a calf injury, he was limited. So it's good to have him back. And, maybe he could have some involvement going forward. Certainly with the way this wide receiver room has looked so far and the injuries they're dealing with, anyone coming back is very much welcome, including the rookie Jordan Watkins, who looked pretty good in training camp and the preseason. And then as far as some defensive players who were limited, CJ West, Ronaldo Green, with the neck injury, which is crazy because, a couple weeks ago he missed a game because of that neck injury. So something to keep tabs on.
Started. Mm-hmm.
Something to keep tabs on because Ronaldo Green has been great so far this season.
You think he's been great?
I think he's been pretty freaking good. Just considering
he's been mid.
I think he's been better than mid just because they've been going up against some really tough wide receivers. I think he's holding his own.
You got to stand up, man. If you want to be great, you got to beat the greatest. You got to beat the greats, and he hasn't been beating the greats. He has a couple of PBUs. Definitely love that portion of his game, but he's getting beat on a lot of routes, and he's just been mid. I'm not saying he won't be better, but maybe the injuries. And remember, he's been dealing with injuries too, from camp all the way up until now. He didn't play in the preseason, so
Yeah.
maybe this neck injury is a little bit more severe than what we think it is. I don't play around with the neck, so
Yeah, that's
if it's a neck, I would say you might want to sit down, young fella, and get that looked at because
could turn serious.
could be
It's
something serious. Yeah.
something you don't want worsening. But so we'll keep tabs on that for Renato Green, and then Kevin Givens and Kalia Davis also were limited. But yeah, I mean, I definitely am looking towards this offense, kind of stepping up, but also everyone on the defense has to step up as well in the absence of, Fred Warner, of course. Just a couple things, right? And we got some other quick hitters from Shanahan. Already talked about, Brock Purdy being more limited than Mac Jones in practice. Jordan Watkins will get a shot at punt return duties. That is in the wake of Sky Moore fielding punts inside the 5 a little too often.
What was he thinking?
I don't know. He's got that CTE early. I don't know, Wayne. And it's crazy because Kyle's like, no, like that's a big no. And it hasn't just been a 1-game thing. Like this is something he's done in multiple games now. And if that's a big no, and if it's something that they're still working on, I mean, obviously the 49ers have told him like that's a no, right? Like he's been coached to not do that. So I don't know what the issue is there.
I kind of think, and I'm just guessing what his mind is thinking, right? This is my opportunity. It's a selfish opportunity. In his mind, he's probably saying, "Hey, man, if I can just get skinny and get through that,
could be the one.
It could be the one." And he had he has some good returns, getting the ball 30, 35. He sees some decent returns, but taking those punts inside the 5, like, it's just a big no, like, right? Like, it's a big no. God forbid you muff it. It's a fumble touchdown. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a big no, but in his mind, I think that's the only thing I would be thinking if I was him.
Yeah.
Returning those. Like, I could beat this. I make this first person miss. I'm off to the races.
Yeah.
I think his job is done here in San Francisco. It just sucks because we traded for him. But I'm sure he'll sign to another team next year and we'll get a compensatory pick back for him. So at the end of the day, like it's a win-win for the Niners. Junior Bergen, Jordan Watkins, your time's up, young fellas. Like it's your time. Make the best of these opportunities you're going to get. I know they say Sky Moore has an injury.
That's probably their way of like just letting Jordan Watkins slip in there. Yeah.
It's time. You know what I mean? It's time.
It is, which, what's funny is that a lot of Sky Moore didn't really bother me because I'm like, okay, he's fielding punts, like he's catching them, which that's been my greatest concern in the last few seasons with whoever has, been on a punt duty in the last couple of years is just that they might be able to get some yards and things like that, but they're not always very secure with the ball, right? Like it's just a little shaky, a little more shakier than I would like. Sky Moore, not very shaky, but his decision making just clearly not great. So that is an issue as well. And yeah, I think that is probably it, Wayne, that he just thinks like this could be the one. I'm gonna just take it. It looks good to me right now. I'm gonna just go. But yeah, it's like selfish decision for sure. So maybe we see Jordan Watkins there this week if Jordan Watkins in fact is able to play for Sunday's game. But yeah, I think they're definitely teasing that eventual decision. So let's get to Tatum Bethune, who obviously is now going to have a large role filling in for that Mike spot. He will continue to wear the green dot as confirmed by Kyle Shanahan. He wore it after Fred Warner went down to finish last week's game. And I thought there was a lot of good stuff from Tatum Bethune. Just a quick note, Kyle Shanahan also asked about Nick Martin. Everyone's also wondering about Nick Martin, right? He said there's definitely a huge opportunity for Nick to get on the field. So there you go. I don't know how much of him we'll see.
He'll be playing special teams.
He'll be active.
He'll be playing special teams. He'll fill the role of Bethune on special teams. So now Bethune's off special teams.
There you go.
He'll be your starting linebacker. Nick Martin will be active on Sundays, if I'm not mistaken, now,
It should
opposed to
be
being
now. Yep.
inactive, right? And so that'll be his role. Nick Martin, in my opinion, is your second tier for D Winters. Yeah, if D
Mhm.
Winters continues to struggle and Nick Martin starts to show he can play special teams, that's the battle I'm looking for. You know what I mean? That's who he would replace. He's the weak side guy. He's not a Mike linebacker, so
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so let's talk about Tatum Bethune now, who, like we said, is going to have a huge role going forward. Kyle Shanahan was asked about him when he spoke with the media yesterday. He said after watching the tape, he thought that Tatum Bethune did a real good job. He had a couple of mistakes, which were understandable, but also called his play very inspiring. Um, and just also mentioned a bunch of the young guys did good things on tape, which I agree. Like I think, you're seeing these young guys for what they are. They're hungry, they're feisty, they're out here with something to prove. And that's exactly why I was excited for the season, and just knowing that there was going to be a lot of young guys, right? Now you got more young guys than probably what you expected, at the start of the season, with now bigger roles. But that's an opportunity for them to step up and grow and learn on the fly. It's not always going to be pretty. We know that. Like these guys are going to make some mistakes, but as long as they progress each and every week, I feel like um, there's something rewarding about that, from our standpoint, being able to watch these guys grow in front of our eyes. So Tatum Bethune, I think, is on track for that. And even Fred, earlier in the season when he was asked about Tatum Bethune, like he likes where he was at in just how he was growing as a player. So now, Bethune ready to carry the torch, I guess you could say. What'd you see from Bethune when you kind of watched the tape back, Wayne?
oh man, I saw a dude locked in.
Yeah.
A guy that's going to play downhill. He's a traditional linebacker, right? And so you got your hybrids like your Fred Warners that can play the Mike, and then you got this guy who's definitely a Mike linebacker by nature. And if you watch his college film from Florida State, he plays all right in pass coverage, especially on the goal line, right? Because there's not a lot of space. He had an interception his last year at Florida State in the end zone. And so I think the biggest question mark is going to be his ability to play the mic, communicate, line people up, get people where they need to be, and play pass coverage. And I think this is the week where he is going to be tested like
Yeah.
none other. Now, in the run game, Bijan better hold on to the damn ball. I can tell you right now, this guy's coming in. He's a big hitter. But I don't want him to be a big hitter. I want him to hit big but wrap and tackle.
Yeah.
I'm really looking
Of
for
course.
fundamental style football out of all the 49ers, which is something that the young guys kind of are like, they're just not on. Like, they just want to lay that big hit. You see it from our safeties. You see it. And so with Bethune, we saw it in the preseason. He would lay some big hits. Who was the running back? Oh, Ashton Genty. Remember, he hit him, but he didn't
Oh
wrap
yeah.
and
Yeah.
tackle him. But he hit him hard to where it took him out of the game for a play or two. So he's gonna lay some big wood. Pause. He's gonna lay it. I could promise you that. But he's got to wrap and tackle. He's got to be fierce in the run game, and it's really gonna come down to the defensive front, man. Are they going to
Yep.
allow the gaps to be, so that he can come and fill the gaps? That's going to be key. But in pass and receiving game is where I think is going to be his biggest question mark, and we'll find out. And if he does piss poor, okay, he had to play against Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. They'll have this guy running all over the football field. I don't even know if he's built for that, but this will be a good game just to show what he can do in pass coverage for sure.
He's going to be tested, indeed, as this entire defense will be. Robert Saleh going to be tested too, just trying to figure out, how he adjusts going forward with the pieces that he has now going forward. So let's talk about Tatum Bethune and just like his mindset. I'm going to play this clip posted from, let's see if it, got to reload this, posted from Matt Lively. Let's see. Here's what Tatum Bethune had to say about filling in for Fred.
Yeah, Fred, he's the leader of the team, not just the defense. So when he goes down, that's a huge blow to every single one of us. And we all are professionals, and we got to prepare like we're the starters. So I'm just being able to go in and just make sure there's no drop off when Fred comes off the field, and that's my goal right now. And I'm not trying to be like Fred. I'm just make sure I'm Tatum Bethune, and that's what I'm going to do leading forward.
Yeah, I mean, I like that he knows he doesn't need to be Fred. Like, no one trying to be Fred, like, probably won't work out for anyone because no one is him. But yeah, I mean, I feel like he's just ready to take on this new role. He's excited for it, so I'm excited for him too. And yeah, we'll be watching real closely, obviously. Now, one thing that I want to talk about now, Wayne, is the possibility of a trade for the 49ers because obviously after having lost, key guys and not just any key guy, like losing Fred just felt different, like, so we were already talking about finding an edge rusher in lieu of Nick Bosa no longer being available. But now that Fred's out, like, does that change your mindset, Wayne, about just the aggression of this team and like, should they even try to be aggressive for, a pass rusher? Just given the state of the defense and maybe what you expect it's going to be or not going to be for the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because like, if you losing Bosa and having Fred, you were definitely gonna make some type of a move, depending on how blockbuster it was gonna be. That would have been determined at whatever point. But now knowing that Fred and Bosa's gone, I know they're confident in Tatum Bethune, as I am as well. I don't want it to feel like I'm not. But I think they still need pressure help up front. Like I'm
Yeah.
not saying they got to go after super big name, but they need to get somebody in here that can help, even if it's to build or add to the rotation of the pass rushing. The Niners, they generate pressures. They're just the wrong ones. Yeah. like like making quarterbacks hurry is one thing, but are you making them hurry and being disruptive in their vision so they're creating bad passes? That's another thing. And so when I see a quarterback scramble, I'm like, oh yeah, they're hurrying and it's a completed pass. I'm like, oh, the hurry was for no reason. But that's the pressure. They need to get to this quarterback, whether they're getting hits or hands in the face, being disruptive. They need more disruptors up front. I don't know if they start an interior or exterior, but I feel like the exterior guys, the edge rushers, those guys, there's going to be some guys available. And realistically, I think any one of these guys can come to this team. Like realistically, even Trey Hendrickson, I think there's a realistic way of making it happen. I know it sounds far fetched, but there's a way to make it happen. I mean, Trey, you can pay him. And you'll just have two defensive ends on the books, and you might move on from some other pieces next year. I don't know. It would be a sad day in the Bay, but why not have two edge rushers? Teams do it all the time. And we can be that exclusive team. And technically this year we would only have one. And I know a lot of people don't want to do it because he's 30, 31, and he's going to be he's an expensive rental. Again, if the prices are right, I'm not saying you go all in, right, Steph? But if the Niners feel like a third round pick or a second round pick can get it done, whatever, man, F them picks, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, the way the 49ers were already talking, and, Kyle and John were both kind of alluding to, yes, like, we're interested in making a trade. And of course, this is before the Fred Warner injury. But when they talked about it, it just kind of felt like they were looking for someone within certain parameters that fit and made sense for them.
Correct.
And Kyle Shanahan continued to say, someone who can not just help us this year, but next year as well. So I think rentals are out of the picture, but then you still continue to see Trey Hendrickson's name brought up in relation to the 49ers. And I don't know if it's just these, national media heads that are just trying to put two and two together just because it's low-hanging fruit and it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could be that. I don't know if they're actually hearing these things. Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano of ESPN put out like a joint piece yesterday, and in it they talked about a number of things, but they talked pretty extensively about, trade possibilities for the 49ers, in which, Fowler mentioned that he's told, so in this case, something he's hearing, he's told the 49ers consider Trey Hendrickson an ideal fit for their defense if the Bengals would part with him for reasonable compensation. So, like, what is reasonable, right?
Correct.
We know the 49ers can be aggressive, but they rather not be. Like, they're gonna be as frugal as they can be. So I just don't know if it makes sense from that standpoint, especially after losing Fred, for them to give up too much for a Trey Hendrickson, especially given the fact that, okay, he would be a rental for this year. And if you want him past that, you're going to have to dish out a lot of money. Is that something that they're willing to do, especially with Nick Bosa on a big contract, just like you were mentioning? That I don't know. That to me makes a little more sense. It would seem to contradict what the 49ers themselves have been saying about what they're looking for in a trade. But at the same time, Trey Hendrickson, maybe he's just the exception just because he is that strong of a player and would be able to help them and give them a significant boost all on his own. But Fowler also added, Cincinnati has no plans to trade Hendrickson at this time. And Hendrickson, by the way, dealing with an injury as well. I believe it's a oblique injury, so he might not even play this week. So that, of course, muddies the water a little bit. But there are other options out there, Wayne. And Fowler mentioned a number of names. And here's where I really want to dig into it with you, because to me, a lot of these names feel a little more realistic for the 49ers than the Trey Hendrickson thing. So I do want to talk about these a little further. So a couple of players from the same teams that he mentioned. So Packers, he brings up Rashawn Gary as an option, and Kingsley and Akbare, because he mentions that Gary probably not someone that they would, realistically part with. But looking at those two guys alone and looking at the team they're on, personally, I don't think the Packers make a deal with the 49ers. I mean, because if you look at the 49ers as a team that could make a move, even if it's not this year, but like they're plotting for next year, as the Packers, like that hurts me too. Like, why would I trade a player and help you out? That's my thing. But we've seen in conference trades, a couple of them already, like this season. So, sometimes it doesn't bother teams that much, right? But Rashawn Gary, 28 years old, under contract until 2028. That's nice. That makes sense for the 49ers standpoint. I don't know if it makes sense for the Packers, because the Packers are also a team that are in contention, for something, playoffs. They look pretty good. So I think there's no reason for them to, start selling players. Kingsley and Akbare, though, maybe makes a little more sense. He'd be a rental, though, but 25 years old. He's only 25. So it's like, maybe the 49ers could live with the fact that he's just a rental. He's on his rookie deal, former 5th-round pick, 2022. So even if you got him on a rental and you immediately just bring him in for a 2-year deal that you signed him to yourself, suddenly that's okay, we could do that, and it probably wouldn't be a bank breaker for the 49ers. So that one makes a little more sense to me. But what are your thoughts on an in-conference trade? Do you feel like the Packers would even do that with the Niners?
Yeah. I mean, the relationship is there between those guys. They have a relationship, so you can see it happening. I mean, they'll move on from a Rashawn Gary. I mean, it's no longer his defense. It's Michael Parsons' defense, and a lot of money is going to go into Michael Parsons, so they might be looking to offload a contract or two in Green Bay. So I know it sucks about helping out, but we've seen teams. I mean, the Cowboys helped the Packers out. That's in conference. It happens. It's rare, but it happens. Now, division, that's a whole nother story, but this is conference, and I don't even think we play them this year. So if we do see them, we wouldn't be until the playoffs. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I can see it happen. I like the Rashawn Gary. I mean, savvy veteran, definitely can set the edge. I think that's something you're looking for, because look, when you look at this team, what's the word? Just the development of the young guys was going to happen like at a drips pace, right? Like literally. And it was perfectly planned out. You had the right key veterans here. You had the rotation set, and then the injury started to set in. And so now your rookies got to become the starters in the roles that the veterans were playing in, like your Nick Bosa's and stuff like that. And even with the injury to Yetur, like that's a big injury. It's a significant injury. It's enough to have to force other guys to be out there on the football field. So now you're talking about a guy with a high pressure rate. You're talking about your best defensive linemen. They're both out. And so now it's just like, all right, Michael, you're an edge rush. You're an edge. Go out there, play edge. Man, that cat was about to. I think Michael's about to have a phenomenal rookie season, and he still can. But it was going to be from the interior out, right? And so now they don't have that versatility in him anymore. They got to keep him on the outside, and unfortunately, he's going to struggle unless they bring in an edge rusher, and that's why I think they trade for an edge rusher. That like you got to get an edge guy in here, put him back to the inside. It helped the run game. The run game was a lot better earlier throughout the regular season. I mean, they're getting better now. But it just seemed more intact and impactful when you had Michael on the inside as playing the 3 technique. So, you know what? I like the Rashawn Gary. Jalen Phillips, I would pass on because he stays injured. Bradley Chubb would be expensive. Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald are the 2 guys I got my name circled around because these are 2 former Robert Saleh guys.
Yes. Yeah, and that's why it makes most sense in that case, right? Dolphins, on the other hand, a team that should start their fire sale soon. Like Mike McDonald's not going to be there.
If they lose this
longer.
Sunday, fire sales on.
Dude, yeah, like everyone is.
He'll be fired first,
cleaning
though.
House, exactly.
Yeah.
And they'll clean house after that. Jalen Phillips, only 26 years old, would be a rental, but he's on his rookie deal. So he'd be cheap right now.
He'd be cheap though. That I'm okay with those.
He'd be cheap right now. Just like if you wanted him to help you out for next year, you would have to sign him to an extension again. So it's like that.
Or you'll get a compensatory pick back from
or
him.
a comp pick. Yeah. If that's what the 49ers want to do now. But again, like I keep hearing Kyle just say like it needs to help us next year too. And so at least ideally, we'll see if that's where they go at this point. Like maybe they're not so picky because they just know they need someone for the rest of this season too. And then Bradley Chubb, like 29, his contract voids in 2028. So that one makes sense, I think, from the contract standpoint, except that like Chubb's current deal has him making more than Bryce Huff's deal currently in San Francisco. So it goes back to that same conversation of, is that something they're willing to do? Like, just someone who's getting paid more money than what you currently have allocated to the position that, would make you just kind of second guess that a little bit.
Listen, I'm all in on Bradley Chubb. If Jed York says yes, that's the guy. That's the one I'm going after. Out of all these guys, give me Bradley Chubb. He's disruptive. He can get to the quarterback. He can play the edge. He can set the edge. He's a veteran. He's a lead. All the stuff you said above. It's the only guy I know that had like a pick 8 in a game against the 49ers. I don't know if you remember when he played for the Denver Broncos, that Jimmy Garoppolo pick, whatever. But I was just like, dude, like he's disruptive. And I'm telling you, Steph, that I know I like sacks. I want to see sacks. I know that's the end result. But after going to last year's Senior Bowl, the word that we kept hearing was disruptor. And I'm realizing that pressures and disruptive pressures are 2 different things. And we need more disruption up front. I think we have some guys that can get to that. This is the guy that's already that.
Yeah. I like that, because you do kind of need a sure thing, right?
Yeah. So if you're going to make a trade, it's got to be a sure thing. This isn't a Chase Young. Let's see what he could do, figure it out. Hell to the no. Nick Bosa's not here.
Yeah. Yeah. So you need to find a sure thing to replace the sure thing that you did have. So I think that would definitely help. I'm on the Bradley Chubb train for sure. I think that one does make sense for the 49ers. And even if Chris Greer said that the defense isn't the problem for the Dolphins, Bradley Chubb is not part of their future. Like, again, he's 29 years old. So I think they would be fine with trading him. at this point. But again, we'll see how it all shakes out. Now, the next team that also would be probably willing to give up some players for picks are the Jets, because they're struggling right now. But at the same time, Aaron Glenn, first year head coach, like punting away some of these players is kind of like going full rebuild. Like, that's risky too. That's very risky too. And the two names, Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald, two young players, are only 26 years old, who can help you out. If Aaron Glenn wants to go in here and just say like, hey, Johnson and McDonald don't fit my scheme, I want to bring in my own guys, then fine. But again, like, I feel like that's kind of risky. But we'll see. Those are the two names that I think, of course, would make sense from the 49ers standpoint. Jermaine Johnson, like I said, 26, under contract until 2027. He's on his rookie deal right now.
They both are.
More than ideal. Yeah, both are. Same contract situation basically for both of them, being on their rookie deal until the 27 season. So that makes a lot of sense from the 49ers. Just, not sure if the Jets would part with those players. Maybe they would rather part with older guys who they don't see as part of their future.
Yeah, I think with the Jets, it's going to be a rebuild. I mean, and then his clock will start ticking. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like his clock won't start really ticking until he gets his quarterback in there. So the Justin Fields situation is maybe the end of that for him, for Mr. Glenn, and he'll be looking to draft a quarterback this year. I mean, if the Jets continue to lose games, they'll have the first pick and they'll get to do a lot. I could see them moving on for some of these guys. Some of these guys may just not fit his scheme. You got to think about the type of scheme he had in Detroit, the type of players that he had, and like, is their secondary, they kind of go secondary like strong. That's kind of like an Aaron Glenn thing.
Yeah.
And then, he figures out that defensive front. But Aaron Glenn is like, damn, I don't have an Aiden Hutchinson. So those guys that we're talking about aren't Aiden Hutchinsons, but they're definitely good, disruptive pass rushers. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they're Robert Saleh guys. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, where it's like these players that were like mainstays from the previous regime, that Saleh and that regime like handpicked themselves. It's like, these guys, I don't want these guys because I didn't pick them, like that kind of thing. So if it's anything like that, then, maybe the Jets part with either one of these players, and it would make a hell of a lot of sense for the 49ers. Couldn't imagine that Robert Saleh's not slamming the table for either one of those guys if, Kyle or John come into his office and are like, hey, like, who do you think would make sense? He'd be like, my guys. So yeah, definitely an option. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Another guy that I think still makes sense for the 49ers is Arden Key, for the obvious reasons, the low-hanging fruit reasons. One, the Titans should start selling players, especially those that they think are not part of, this new regime, this new rebuild, right, that they need to go into. Arden Key, 29, like veteran, and he's kind of been a journeyman, since his time with the 49ers, but I still think he's a productive enough player that you can bring him in and you could put him back with this Robert Saleh defensive scheme and he'd have success. At the very least, kind of like we were talking about, Wayne, it's like he will help open things up for a Michael Williams on the interior. Like, you kind of just need someone who can create enough, what's the word? Disruption. That's it. He could do that.
It's not even just about commanding the doubles, because if you're disruptive out there on the edge and you got the motor, I think those are the words that we need. We need the motor guy. You need the motor guy, disruptive motor guy. That's going to force a double team. Because when you force the double team, that's one thing. Now, they're double teaming Michael Williams at a high excel rate, right? Because that dude is a freak of nature. And I get it. That's respect. And it's also smart on the defensive
he's the only
side.
Threat.
That's the smartest thing ever.
Yeah.
And so I don't sit there and be mad. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing to the San Francisco 49ers defense front. No one else can beat them up front. And yeah, I like Bryce Huff, but Bryce Huff is a role guy. Yeah. And so we don't need another role guy. We had the role guy. The role guy was on fire until the injury of Nick Bosa. And so now you're asking the role guy to be a main guy, and he's just being overworked, in my opinion, overused because he's all we got. So the Niners got to get some help, and I guarantee you, it's not going to be any of these guys.
No, you don't think any of these guys we talked about just now would be?
The Niners will go find a dude that's been sleeping under a
Some
tire
rando.
somewhere, yo, and
Some randos.
yeah, he'll cost us $3.50, and then hey, but if he's disruptive, and I'm for it.
I mean, yeah, the 49ers have done this before, right? Where they get someone like even Yetur Gross-Matos was kind of one of those who like
He was kind of one of those who's like he
Yeah.
didn't really stand out in Carolina, not to me.
Yeah.
But we got him here. He fit the system. It's a system fit guy. But my thing is, do we need a system fit guy, or do we need a guy that can just be disruptive?
Yeah. I take anyone. I take anyone at this point. But yeah, I think these names do make sense. But I'm with you. We wouldn't be shocked if the 49ers just go for someone who feels random.
Or not go for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think they probably still want to take in these next couple of games, figure out their situation. What do we need if we do bring someone in? Like, how much is it really going to help us this year and next year? Like, what is the situation going to look like? So I think they're taking a step back with this whole trade thing after the Fred Warner injury, like, and just kind of assessing the situation and what this defense is going to look like without two of your key players. But in the meantime, things being what they are, you know, you got this game against the Falcons coming up, Sunday Night Football. You're playing in your throwbacks. You're at home. The vibes by default should be good, even if we are a little scared. So, Wayne, I want to ask you before we get out of here. This is the third down conversion portion. So, third and long, what's the 49ers' biggest challenge this week going up against the Atlanta Falcons?
Stopping Mustard! They got to stop the Bijan. Like, that's it. You stop the Bijan, you force them to be one-dimensional, and then it's just limiting Drake. But they got to stop Bijan Robinson. And they can't. My thing is this, right? This game is going to be more on the defense than it is the offense. The defense can't let up, period. They cannot let up. I feel like a lot of the Falcons' chunk plays they happen when defenses just like are laxed, and not even like mistake defenses, like defenses that miscommunicate, which is who we are. No, defenses that just forgot that Bijan is on the football field and he catches a 7-yard pass and runs for 90 yards. Like, just don't let up on Bijan. And I think that's why I like the Tatum Bethune. I love the fact that he's starting, because I guarantee he's going to hit Bijan a couple of times, and, you know, it's going to be a good game. But you got to stop him. You know, you got to do your best to contain him, keep him contained. And if they could do that, man, the opportunity, sky's the limit.
Well, Bijan's like he's pretty big too, or he can like
he could
take a hit. He could take a hit, like
but he can't keep taking the hits. Is my point. And and the thing I like about Bethune is he can keep dishing them out. They're gonna try to make sure that that's not the guy that's making the tackles. But Marquise Siegel, Malik Mustafa, we got some big hitters.
Playing a little more time this week.
Yeah, buddy, we got some big hitters.
Yes, yeah. They'll need that, but like what you were saying earlier, Wayne, it can't be at the sacrifice of getting a good and short tackle. Like,
oh yeah.
You want to come in flying.
I'm sorry,
and laying the wood. But
I'm my bad.
Still got to be on your P's and Q's, fundamentally tackling.
What was the Miko, the swarm? That whole you got 11 guys to the ball, because the first person is going to be there to make the hit. And then the other 10 guys got to be there to help wrap up the tackle, or just make sure you tackle. See, my thing about him is he breaks tackles so really good. Like, he's a good, break tackler guy, right?
I have a stat.
Oh God, I don't want to hear it yet. I do. Let me say my stats first.
Yeah, go.
And then you give me that stat. I'm a little nervous about that stat. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so I do want to say this: 24 yards, 143 yards, 72 yards, 75 yards, 170 yards. 2 games. And out of the games that he played, out of the 6 games that they played, 5 games, excuse me, this would be the 6th. They had their bye week, where he rushed over 100 yards.
Yes.
Only 2. He can be stopped. Okay, go ahead.
But you say that, but like it's not just about stopping Bijan.
It's the run game, period.
Yes, the run game, but like in all their games that they've played, and it's been 5 because as you said, they have had their bye week. 5 games this season they've played. He's had 100 or more scrimmage yards. So
okay,
like,
there
even
you go.
if from rushing, you know,
you got to stop him in the pass catching game too.
Yeah, got to stop him there
because the game he had 24 rushing yards, he had 100 receiving yards.
No. See, you didn't mention
the game
that.
he had 143 rushing yards. He only had 23 receiving yards.
He'll get you.
Yeah, he's the Christian McCaffrey of the future. Like he's the now, I guess.
He is. He's really tough. So talented. Last week, just tranced all over. The Bills, 238 total yards from scrimmage. You mentioned the 170 yards on the ground, 19 carries. That's 8.9 yards per carry average. Wayne, like. Please, 49ers, just be better than that.
It was too many explosive runs, though, Steph. They gave up an 81-yard
yarder that he scored on. Yeah.
And the Niners are notorious for that, right? Even when Fred was playing, they were notorious. As a matter of fact, the moment Bosa got injured, that's when you started to see the explosive runs.
Yeah, it's true. But also have to be mindful of him getting, check downs and them setting up passes for him. 6 catches for 68 yards last week. And as you said, he's really hard to tackle. His cuts are just so sudden. So you feel like you're in a position to get him. And then before
quick.
You know it, it's like he teleports. Like that's what his cuts look like. He's like, dude is moving spots.
I do nice.
Yes, he's just very, very good at what he does. And here's the stat I had. So according to PFF, most tackles avoided this season. Okay, so the top quarterback, Baker Mayfield. You guys know what play immediately just went into your mind when I just read that.
The 3rd and freaking 14.
Bro, it's okay. So the top running back in most tackles avoided this season, Bijan Robinson, with 39 tackles avoided this season. And again, that's on a game less than most teams have played this year because they had their bye week already.
He probably has more avoided tackles than the whole San Francisco 49ers offense. Bro. That's ridiculous.
I got to find that because I don't doubt that's correct. Like,
that
has to be true.
That is ridiculous. Like, that is good. Let me just say I miss Christian McCaffrey. I mean, Christian McCaffrey was never like a forced tackle miss guy. He does have a little move, a quick jab step or whatever. But damn, if we could just get back to running the ball, those days have been numbered. I think in San Francisco. Maybe we'll get back to it this week. George Kittle should be out there. So
you would think it just look a little better.
Just,
like even if it's just a smudge, right? Like
we got the 11-yard run last week, so I'm like, all right, maybe we're trending up here.
Let's make it 12 this week,
maybe we could get 13. And then our most explosive run this year, I believe, was 15 or 16 yards. I think it was Brian Robinson. So we'll see. It's really the Niners outside zone game that's not working, and so because it's just not working.
It's been their bread and butter.
Bread and butter for years.
But these wide receivers and the tight ends so far, these 100%. Guys need to block better.
100%.
That's really what it comes down to.
I know we blame the O-line. Yeah. They're the beginning of it, but they're not all that makes this Kyle Shanahan system works. No block, no rock, guys. And we've seen wide receivers that can't block. They don't get on the football field. And so right now we have to use wide receivers. Like Kendrick Bourne is terrible on blocking. Like he's just not good. I don't know what it is.
Good. Well, I mean, you're missing some of your.
It was 19 yards. Thank you, Niner faithful.
19 yards for Brian Robinson. Not even McCaffrey, which is.
No, I think McCaffrey might have had like a 15, 16 yarder. My bad. But yeah, it was 19. Most explosive run all year. Crazy.
So Wayne, for biggest challenge for me, I like that you said Bijan. I think that is a huge one for me. I had him listed as my 3rd and goal. The 49ers' biggest goal of the week was tackling and limiting Bijan. My biggest challenge of the week was just kind of keeping the quarterback upright. whether it's Purdy or Mac. I'm assuming it's going to be Mac one more week.
Yeah.
And just keeping him upright enough so that we could, have an offense. Because this Falcons pass rush, I think, is going to be the biggest challenge of the week for the 49ers. They blitzed Josh Allen last week on 56% of his dropbacks. Like, that is insane. This is just who they are. Remember Jalen Walker?
Yeah,
Wayne, we talked about him quite extensively leading up to the draft. He's a stud. He looks so great for them. They also got James Pierce, along with some of the other guys they already had on that line. So it's just looking good for them. And anytime a defense can make an elite quarterback look human, like Josh Allen, like you just can't ignore that. Like,
there's context though.
There's context, I know, but even still, even with
there's tons. First of all, Josh Allen didn't have his number one target. Target didn't play. Dalton Kincaid didn't play in that game.
You think it hurt him that much?
That's his guy. That, like, literally, who's every quarterback's best friend is a tight end. That's what we say. We can't go away from it now. That's a thing. I can't wait to see what Mac Jones and George Kittle look like. You know what I'm saying? We know what Brock Purdy and George Kittle looks like, and so that's the thing you use to negate the blitz. You get the ball to the tight end check down, tight end screens, all that type of stuff. Jake Tonjes is a good receiving tight end. And so we're going to see they're going to blitz. They're going to blitz. Now, we thought Tampa was going to blitz, and they did not. They disguised coverages. Will Atlanta take a page out of that book? Because I think Mac is ready for the blitz.
The Bucs, their secondary was hurt. They were missing.
They had Jamal. They got Jamal Dean back though, and that was their best guy. Like, if Jamal Dean wasn't in that game, damn, no Zion. Then Jamal comes out. It's like, no worry, I got the secondary, gets the interception, seal the deal. But no, I'm just saying, like, you're right. Like, they did make a great quarterback, like probably one of the best in the game, look human. But it was also because I think Josh just didn't have his guy. He was running around scrambling for his life, not throwing the ball. I mean, they got to figure that out. The thing I do like about the Niners is they're comfortable with who's out there. It's Kendrick Bourne. They're making it work, right? You get what I'm saying? It's Kendrick Bourne. The continuity is there, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Josh didn't have that, missing Dalton Kincaid, But I don't want to take away from Atlanta's defense. Them dudes were balling. And you didn't say that they have the number one passing defense in the league.
Yeah. Which is all the 49ers have right now is their passing game. Like, literally all they have. So, yeah, it's going to be really tough, I think, for the 49ers to get any, like, significant offense going, which, as we were saying, like, this is an offense that we think will need to score more points to help out this defense. So I'm scared. Like, I'm a little scared about this matchup. And
I'm not mad at you. I'm with you. There's nerves.
Because we, a couple weeks ago, maybe we were looking at this game like we should be able to win that one. And then after seeing how that game went down against the Bills, who don't have that great of a defense either,
Good point.
But again, like I said,
their defense did lose a lot of players in game too.
Yeah. I can't ignore the fact that what they did to Josh Allen, even with the context of him missing Kincaid, I think it still shows that this Falcons defense is capable.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. If you do it, you're capable. The question is, how will the 49ers negate that though? They have to figure out how to beat the blitz. And they got pieces, right? They got Christian McCaffrey.
Screen game. Get a screen game.
You already know. They got the pieces. What have we been seeing more this season? Screens, running backs, tight ends, screens.
Block, man. Freaking block, please.
The issue with the blocking on the screen is him. 64. I'm not going to say his name for the rest of the season. I thought you were going to
say McCaffrey. I was like, no, I don't think it's McCaffrey.
No, the issue is 64. I mean, you get these big gains on the screens. That one block that number 64 just can't make or won't even try. I just remember on one of our shows, I was like, who was he blocking? We pulled it up.
Yeah.
We questioned it. We were like, bro, what are you doing? Throw your helmet off at him. Hit him in the kneecap. Do something. Nothing. Just go ahead. But that happens every week.
Yeah,
every week.
the interior of this line has been very, very inconsistent, and that's putting it lightly. Mac Jones struggles against pressure, obviously. Like both of
does.
his picks last week came either when he was blitz or pressured. Under pressure, his passer rating last week dropped to 27.5. So like it's a significant difference, which is why I don't think the Falcons are going to let up. They're going to blitz the hell out of Mac Jones this week as well.
Good point.
But there is
To
a way,
force the turnovers, right? Like to force
the turnovers. Yeah. Like you said, there's a way to combat that, and that's what their the 49ers offensive game plan is going to need to be. Just getting the ball out quick, getting these screens going to kind of like neutralize them a little bit, keep them honest. But we'll see how far that takes them, but that's definitely.
I still think the Niners, they can win this game, regardless of how much great we talked about the fact. I mean, Michael Penix is no slouch. I mean, these guys got shut out by the Panthers. Like, go give me that film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did the Panthers do?
Yeah,
and Michael Penix makes mistakes.
Game.
You're right. That's but this is kind of like a division game too. Old division game.
Indeed.
I swear to God, the Saints and the Falcons play us harder than any team in our division. Yeah, they just do.
You're right. Like
they're old NFC West teams. That's why.
It could be that. It's just built into them.
It's just in their DNA. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in any case, it should be a pretty good matchup. Like I said, we're expecting some good vibes just off the fact it's going to be Sunday Night Football. They got the nice lights at Levi's now that, if the 49ers score a touchdown,
it's going to be explosive.
We can see the light show, the fireworks and all that. We're excited. The throwbacks, the red throwbacks, classics. So, yeah, hopefully they'll look good. Hopefully they play good out there. But Wayne, thank you so much for joining me. Fun show.
Excellent
as
show.
always on a Thursday. Make sure you guys like this video if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the channel, not just mine, but Wayne's as well. We're always putting out some great content. So also make sure that you hit that notification bell so you know when we go live and when we drop some new stuff. Tomorrow going to be doing my preview show. KP will be out, but I'll be rocking, and hopefully we'll have Desi with me to talk about some of these injuries. So make sure you guys tune into that. Audio listeners, leave a rating, leave a review. But for now, folks, have a good rest of your Thursday. Peace.